good to go. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on Mojo Wednesday. We are so excited you're here. Today, we're going to talk about social media. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mindy Deeble, and I'm one of your Blue Diamonds here at Trinot. And we are just so excited about the explosion that is happening right now. You guys, last night was an amazing close of the month. I know there's a lot of people that are running. You guys are making things happen, and I want to congratulate those of you who qualified for our boot camp this month. And I know it's going to be an awesome month, an awesome training. This is the first of the month, and some big things can happen this month. But I don't want to take any more time, you guys, because I am so excited for you to hear from this gal. Now, just so you know, I love this gal. She has blessed me with my social media. I actually hired her a year and a half ago, and I have seen huge improvements with my social media. And that's when I saw everything that she was doing with my stuff. I'm like, okay, we need her to come and train all of you and teach you some of her mad skills. She also has created our content for us to help each and every one of you. And before we get into stories, I just want to say this one thing. If you are brand new with social media, don't let this overwhelm you. At the very end of this call, I'm going to have Bethany talk to you a little bit about how you can just get started with social media. The cool thing is that she's already created the content for you, for you to just get started in your first 60 days. But at the very end, she's going to talk to those of you who are brand new with social media and you just maybe feel a little overwhelmed with everything that you're hearing. The other thing I want to say before we get into the weeds of stories and how you can convert them, there are 2 other trainings that Bethany has already done that are recorded, and those are in our featured section of Power Players Facebook group. They are also on our YouTube channel, our Power Players YouTube channel. So make sure, and if you can't find them, get with your mentor, but make sure that you watch those other 2 trainings because she has laid these out for you. So if you're brand new, you start with that first one, you can learn a little bit about how to get started, and then you've got the second one, and now we're into that third phase right now. Okay, so just make sure that you get to those other recordings, and that will also help. But you guys, I just want you to know as I introduce this social media expert, this gal for me, I have had several videos go viral with her ideas and the things that she has done, and not just on one platform, but actually on Facebook, on Instagram, and TikTok. And it has exploded those 3 accounts. And so she knows her stuff. She knows how to help us. And the best part about it, it's not really about making a video explode, okay? What it's about is helping you attract people to you, because that is truly what it's been for me. I've been able to get many people into the business, many people wondering what I am doing because of the social media content that we have been creating. And so I'm excited for you to learn from her, and make sure you take lots of notes. And if you do have questions, drop those in the chat and we'll make sure that those questions get answered at the very end. But please help me welcome my friend and also social media expert, and she may have an official title. I have no idea. I know she has clients from all over the place that she works with, but I just call her my friend, but she is an expert in the social media space, Bethany Reyes. Bethany, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your wisdom. I'm super excited to learn about stories and how to make my stories convert better into sales. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mindy. It's been a pleasure being able to create content, the 60 days of onboarding for you guys. I also create stories for the Telegram channel. So if you're wondering who that person is, that's me. And so I'm excited to hop in and share my story selling strategy with you guys. I've been in social selling for almost 11 years. I did makeup for 7 years, and I did turn up for about 3 years. And then I've been in this space of being a social media manager, a content coach for the last almost 2 years or so. And so that's kind of my history. I have learned a lot. I have over $500,000 in personal sales. I think I earned like 24, 10, and 3 bonuses back in the day.
Yes, you
And so
did. You
I
did.
am really good at getting customers. I'm really good at selling and converting content. And so that is why I'm going to bring to you my strategy that you can steal and you can use. But first, drop in the chat. I'm curious, when it comes to posting in your story, do you have a strategy or is it whatever you feel like posting? Let me know. Say yes or no. I have a strategy. I'm just posting whatever comes into my brain that day because I'm curious where you guys are at right now, right? Um, and I'm going to try something new. I'm trying to present on Canva. I've created a PowerPoint there because I have some videos embedded, and I just want to hopefully make sure that those actually post today. So we're going to try something new. Hopefully it all works out. And I'm going to go ahead and share that. All right. And we'll present here. All right, it looks like it's working. Okay, here we go. So this is going to be the story selling strategy. So why do you post your stories? Why is it important to post your stories? I believe that your stories give you an advantage because you can build trust a lot faster than you can with a post, especially if you use this technique where you're showing behind the scenes, you're showing people the real, raw, authentic you. A lot of times people can't get to know you through a 10-second reel or through just a Facebook post. But when you're showing up in your story and you're giving people like the behind the scenes you, that can build trust faster and build connection faster. And another thing is if you're posting on Instagram, your reels on Instagram usually are shown to your followers and non-followers, but your stories are mainly shown to your followers, which means it's shown to a warmer market, which means warmer market is easier to sell to versus a colder market. So utilize that and warm them up. Use your stories to warm them up. So I believe that your reels, your posts are a lot of times that introduction to who you are, but then your stories are where you're sitting down over a cup of coffee with a friend, getting to know each other. And so if you're not utilizing your stories, you're missing out on that connection piece. You're missing out on sitting down over a cup of coffee with someone because that's really where the conversions will happen. The posts and the reels might build curiosity, but they're not going to close the sale. So I promise you, if you start showing up consistently in your story with this strategy, you can double your sales this month. So let's go to the next one. So let's talk about do's and don'ts. So what I suggest you doing is show your face. It's hard to build trust if you're only posting graphics. It's hard to build trust if you're just posting products. Show your face in your stories. Don't just post random things. And don't worry about looking put together. Don't worry about having your makeup all done, your hair all done, because like I said, people want to see the unedited version of you. And so if you're always trying to make sure that you look completely put together to show up, then it's going to make it more difficult for you to show up. And it's also going to make it more difficult to feel authentic if you're always put together. Talk to your story like you're talking to a friend. So I always tell people when you're posting in your story, pretend you're FaceTiming your best friend. And that's how you should talk in your story. And that's how you should post in your story. And you should always have a purpose behind what you're posting to your story, not just ramble about random things in your story, but have a purpose to what you want to share and why you're showing up that day. Another important thing that I this is kind of my strategy is let old stories expire or delete them. So your stories are live for 24 hours and if you're posting every day, what I suggest is letting those stories completely expire before you posting new stories or even deleting them before you post new stories. And there's a reason for that and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that a little bit later, but it's because that first story in controlling what people see first is going to make the biggest difference on whether they watch the rest of your stories. And we'll talk about that in a minute. You only need to post 3 to 4 stories a day. You don't need to be posting 5 to 10 stories. In actuality, if you're thinking about people scrolling through your stories, they're probably going to watch 3 to 4 stories, and then they're going to slide out of your story and they're going to be done. People aren't going to sit there and watch 20 stories. So don't think about how you have to post every single part of your day. Strategically, just show up and post 3 to 4 things in your story every day. I also suggest if you're talking in your story, make the clips under 30 seconds. You can post up to a minute in each story, but I suggest 30 seconds because people's attention span is so small. I feel like people are more likely to watch 2 30-second videos versus one 1-minute video. So even if let's say I record something and it's 1 minute, I will split it in half. I will post the first half for one story and the second half for the second story, because I believe people are more likely to watch a 30-second story versus one 1-minute story. Use polls and stickers and sliders. So there's those options where you can add a poll, you can add stickers, you can add sliders. Now, you don't need to add a whole bunch of stuff. I'm saying strategically, maybe add one thing that builds that interaction piece where people can interact with your stories, and always add captions. So captions is text on the screen, or the captions button where you show people, hey, this is what I'm saying, because most people, probably about 90% of people, are going to be watching their story on mute, and they're not going to know what you're saying if you don't add text or captions to what you're saying. All right, so let's go to the last thing too is don't assume people know what the product is. So that's another thing I see often is people show up in their story and be like, hey, I'm just making my mojo today. People have no idea what that is. So don't assume that people know what it is because you've talked about it before or because you sell it. People don't automatically know what the product is. Just because you're familiar with it doesn't mean they're familiar with it. So always act like it's the first time hearing about what you're sharing. All right, so here is another do's and don'ts. Look at this. Okay, so let me go ahead and play this.
And help your gut health. So we're just gonna mix down 2 of these because you only need to take 1 or 2 of these before your meals. Okay, so we're gonna mix it up.
Okay. Oops. Let me go back to that. So here's the difference between posting an infographic and posting a video of yourself. Which one do you think is going to get more engagement? Which one do you think is going to get more sales? Probably the one of me actively showing them the product and I'm doing a demo in the story versus posting an infographic. I do not suggest posting infographics where it's just a picture of the product and it's saying, hey, this is what the product is. That is saying this is what it is, but you're not solving a problem for people. So when you show up in your story and you're showing your face and you're showing yourself with the product, it builds the trust between that product and that person. So people trust you. So when they see you using something, now it builds that correlation of trust to what you're using. Versus if you're just posting an infographic, that connection of trust is lost. So I'm going to do a quick demo for you guys of kind of what I see people do. So I'm going to pretend that this is my story and I am showing up on my story for you guys. Okay, so this is what I see a lot of times. Okay, I see people have all their products out like this, right? Because they want to make sure that people know that they sell something, right? So they have all their products. Let me turn off the video blurring. Okay, so they have all their products, like, okay, make sure people know I'm with Trinot. All right, and then they're open up their cup. Good morning. Hi. Oh my gosh, I didn't sleep good last night. Oh, I'm so tired. I gotta get my mojo. It's a busy day today. I'm going to work. I just gotta, get my products together. So yeah, we're just busy today. This is what we're doing. And there's no point for people to watch that. There's no point for people to watch that. So this is what I would do instead. Okay, let me show you. We don't need a whole display of your products. Okay. Clear glass. Okay, I'm going to take a scoop of Activate. I'm going to start like this. All right, so we're going to start. I'm going to scoop this in here. I'm still using the product, but I'm not showing all these containers of products so people don't automatically think I'm selling to them, right? So I'm going to start with this, and I'm going to say something like, I don't know about you, but sweets are my kryptonite. I've been trying to lose weight, but no matter what I do, I want sweetbread by 3 o'clock every afternoon with my cup of coffee until I found this thing right here. So this is a drink. It activates my GLP-1. And what it helps with is it helps me not want to crave sweets all day, every day. So I started drinking this every single morning. I just add it to water. And by 3 p.m., I'm not grabbing that sweet bread that's in the fridge. So something like that, right? Or you could say, start with a question like, what is your kryptonite when it comes to cravings? Because for me, it's always sweets. I know like some people, maybe it's like chips or maybe it's cookies. What is that one thing that is always messing up your weight loss journey? Now you start with a question, then you say, that's why I started drinking Activate. This is a drink that naturally increases my GLP-1 hormone, which kind of controls that like signal in my brain that, hey, you're full, you don't need to eat this. And so now that I've quieted that down, I can actually see progress in my weight loss journey. Now, when I work out and I eat healthy, I actually see results because I'm not killing all of that progress with my sweets every afternoon. All you have to do, add a scoop of this to your cup of water in the morning, and those cravings will go away, right? So you see how that's so different. It feels like there's a purpose, a connection piece between this, the benefits of this. I focused on, hey, this is a problem. What is the problem that this solves? Not what is this, right? I focused first on what is the problem that this helps with. This helps with cravings. This helps with people that are craving sweets or craving, and they're wanting to see progress in their weight loss journey, but they're struggling because they keep, having these cravings. So I focused on that first. And then I told them what it is, right? Because I don't assume they know what Activate is. So I told them this is what it is and this is how it works. And this is how it's helping me. Now I'm seeing progress in my weight loss journey because I'm using this, and this is reducing those cravings so I don't eat sweets and ruin my progress. You see how that changes everything versus, hi everyone, I'm gonna make my Activate today. How's your day? Very different. Very, very different. And so that is the strategy that I'm going to teach you today on how to do. So let's go back to this PowerPoint, and I will show you how to do this. But I had to show you a live demonstration because I feel like that hits the point. All right, so let's do this. All right, so the first thing is don't sell. Don't sell the product, sell the problem it solves. Just like I did in here, I did not start with, let me make my Activate today. Here's Activate. No, I started with, hey, what is that one thing that you always crave and you feel like is killing your weight loss journey? Because for me, it's cake. It's me, that sweet bread that I want to have with my cup of coffee at 3 p.m. every afternoon. That's very different, right? So every product solves multiple problems. And your job is to identify these problems and create stories around them and where you're solving these problems, and then you're positioning the product as a solution to that. So what that looks like, let's give an example of liquid collagen. So the problems it solves: joint pain, hair growth, skin issues, scarring, recovery after workouts, aging skin, weak nails, all of those. So you could create stories around each of those problems. So what that would look like with this strategy, first, the strategy is going to be what I did is connect. So your first story is going to be purpose is to engage. So it's going to be where you're asking them a question, you're adding a poll. So like I did, like, what is that kryptonite? What is that one food that you're always craving and is ruining your weight loss journey? That would be story one. Story two is where you educate and give them value. Did you know that there's this little hormone in your body, it's called GLP-1, that actually controls the food noise and helps control those cravings? And then you say, that's why I started drinking this drink. And then your proof is going to be you screenshotting a testimonial from the ATM group, and you're showing them proof of like, what's the results people have got from using this product? When people see this proof, that builds the belief that this actually works. And then the last story is going to be your call to action story, where you're saying, would you like to try it? Do you want to know more about this? Are you ready to try this drink? And then you have a poll on your story that says yes or yes. And I'll show you what this looks like. So this is an example. Let me go ahead and start it. So this is my first story, and we are talking about transform.
Another mama just reached out to me this week, and my heart went out to her. She had just been diagnosed with gestational diabetes. She was beating herself up about it. Did I do this? Am I to blame? And I just told her, girl, it's not your fault. The placenta sometimes does this because I just went through it with joy, and I learned a lot about blood sugar. And I realized that a lot of people struggle with blood sugar levels, and they have no clue. They have no idea.
Okay, so that was the first one. I'm kind of telling a story about how a friend reached out to me. She struggled with gestational diabetes, just like I did. And I asked the question, did you have gestational diabetes during your pregnancy? Here's the next one.
Some symptoms to unhealthy blood sugar levels could be wanting to eat something sugary after you eat a meal, waking up super hungry in the morning, needing to snack a lot, feeling like you need more caffeine because you feel fatigued or exhausted. Those are just some signs that you could have some blood sugar issues.
Okay, so that is the educational piece. Now where I'm like, hey, here are some signs you might actually be struggling with blood sugar issues. And now I'm going to position the product as a solution.
This little pill is a plant-based enzyme that will transform your glucose into fiber. A lot of people are seeing real results with this as far as their blood sugar levels. And when you get your blood sugar in check, you're going to see more energy, less fatigue, less brain fog. You can even experience some weight loss with this as well. But overall, you're just going to feel a lot better and have less of those dips and spikes in your blood sugar.
And then I did the social proof. So what I did is I screenshot a message I got from a customer that said, hey, these are the results I got. And that is the social proof. So I said real results. I literally just put the screenshot of what they said to me on, you could say a customer review, etc. And then the last story I did was a picture of me that said, are you ready to try it? Do you want more info? And had a poll, yes or yes. So here is an example of this strategy. The first one is connection, where I just asked a question. I got them interested in the story. The second one was where I educated them. I talked to them about unhealthy blood sugars. The third one is I told them what the product was and how it works. Then I showed them a proof of that the product works for other people. And then you could either do the poll or call to action on this slide, or you could also do an additional slide to that. All right, so this is what was supposed to go with the collagen one. I think that they got split up. So when we talked about the collagen one, let me go back to that because those got split up somehow. Okay, so here's the collagen. So these problems, right? Now I'm going to show you how to break down these problems into a story sequence. So let's go over here now. Okay, so the first part is connect. So if we were talking about collagen, what could be the first story we pose? It could be like, do your knees hurt after you run? Anyone else feel stiff after working out? Do your joints feel older than you are? Like, are your joints starting to hurt? Like, what age did you feel like your joints started to hurt you? That could be your first story. And you add a poll to it, asking them like yes or no, or this or that kind of question in that poll that goes with these questions. So ask one question, then the value piece of it, did you know that your collagen is like the glue that holds your joints together? It's one of the main proteins that help your joints. I start taking it to help me with my workouts, right? Now we're talking about educating on them, why the collagen can help them. Then I find a social proof from the testimonial group. So maybe I go into the ATM group, I search collagen, I find someone talking about joint pain, where now they're able to run a marathon or they're able to do their workouts, etc. Screenshot that, I'll add that to my story. And then the last one, maybe it's a picture of me drinking a shot of collagen and saying, hey, would you like to know more about the collagen I'm using? And the poll answers could be, tell me more info, or yes, right? So this is how you can take a problem or an idea and break it down into these things. So you start with a question, you tell them why this product can help them, you show them how it's helped someone else, and then you basically say, Do you want to know more? So, like I said before, let your stories die or delete them because your first story is most important. Your first story decides if someone's going to keep on watching the rest of your stories. And so, when you let your story die or you delete them, you can control what people see first. Does that make sense? And so, think of your first story as a hook to the rest of your stories. So, you always want your first story to hook people in so that then they watch more. And so if you can do that, they're going to watch the rest of your story. So I would say you can hook them in by engaging them with a question. So that's why I teach this method of connecting and engaging them, because then it's going to give you that higher hook value so that now they watch the remainder parts where you're talking about, educating them on the product and having that social proof. So let me show you which of these is more eye-catching, right? So this is why it's so important to think about, what is your first story? What is that first thing that people are going to see? Is it going to be this collagen graphic, or is it going to be me holding up my hair tie that has a whole bunch of hair in it, and I'm going to be talking about hair loss, right? So think of it this way of like, okay, what is that first story going to be like? Is it going to be a graphic, or can I make it more eye-catching where I'm on camera, I'm holding something up, or I'm walking and talking? I'm going to give you guys some visual hook ideas here in a second, but I want to show you some examples first. All right, so here are some examples of first story. So here's a first story I did, and it got like 20 to 30 people replying to my story, just messaging me about this story. And the whole story was, I was like, I'm curious, what do people do up north when it's cold and you get a pedicure? Because like you can't like put your boots on. And I literally could not comprehend what people do because I'm in Florida. And people wanted to tell me what the truth is, what it is that they do. And so I got so many interactions on this just by saying something silly like, tell me like, how do you guys take care of your pedicures in the winter and put boots on? Here's another one. Look at this, okay? I'm gonna sleep in this silk bonnet to prevent hair loss from a type on. Do you sleep in a bonnet?
Does anyone do this? I got this from Marshalls. This is what I'm going to sleep in from now on. I usually put my hair up in a bun, but I realized that can actually create more hair loss, which I'm already losing hair. So I'm going to wear this from now on. I want to know if I'm like the only person that wears these or not.
Okay, so you see how that was pretty eye-catching, right? And then I talked about the liquid collagen after that. Here's another one that got a lot of reactions. Oh, okay, I guess the audio is not on that. But I was talking about the weather, and I was like, here in Florida it's 40 degrees and I'm so freezing. And people up north love to tell you how you're ridiculous for thinking it's cold. Here's another one.
Sleep do you get every night? I would say pre-baby, I got at least 8 hours of sleep. Now that I have kids, it's lucky if I get 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep.
Okay, so you see how I'm doing my makeup and I'm talking and I'm asking them, how many hours of sleep do you get every night? And then I talked about the CBD after that. So then it kind of led into, did you know that CBD can help you sleep better? Right. So those are just some introductions. Invite people into your story. So like sometimes it can be product related. Sometimes your first story can just be telling them about something specific, a story or what happened that day. It doesn't always have to be product related. This story I did, it got like 1,200 views. And I did a poll on it too, but I said, does this make me a Karen? So I went shopping today and I basically told people how I went shopping and my change was like 3 pennies and the cashier didn't even give me the 3 pennies. And I was like, excuse me, you forgot my change. And so I was like, does that make me a Karen because I asked for my change? Like, it's weird that people would assume that I didn't want my 3 pennies, but I want my 3 pennies. And so people had their opinions. And so I asked them, does this make me a Karen? And 124 people said no, and 13 people said yes, it does. So things like that, where you can invite people into like what's happening in your day, but like have a purpose behind it. Notice how, does this make me a Karen? That is a good hook that catches your attention, right? And then I tell the story, and then the story after that is when I ask them, does this make me a Karen? And I got a lot of responses to that. So Your first story matters. And when you have that first story hook people, then more people are going to pay attention. But you can let me know, am I a Karen for that or not? All right, so here are some visual hooks to help you as far as like grabbing attention with your first story. So setting your phone down. So let's say that you're getting ready to do your story. Sometimes like even just grabbing your phone and setting it down as you start recording. Another one is making a drink or shake on camera, just like I did in that demo for you guys. Another one would be you're walking with your phone. So like maybe you're on a walk and you're just talking to your phone while you're walking. One could be like you taking a video of the full-length mirror and talking to yourself through the full-length mirror, applying makeup, opening a package, walking into the frame. So like this. Did you know? All right, so that is a hook of just like walking into the frame. So those simple things can just grab attention. Sometimes it's just holding something in your hand, or maybe it's just stirring a drink like this. That can all be a hook, or maybe you have a frother, and maybe it's just frothing a drink. All of those things. Another thing that I do, especially when you're trying to sell a product like this, a clear glass. Because how much more enticing is it to see this versus to see this? Like the visual aspect of seeing the product. And so I have a bunch of these clear glasses now because I think visually seeing the product helps you sell the product versus having a cup where people can't even see what you're showing them. All right. So another important part is having text or captions on screen because 90% of people watch their stories on mute. So there is actually a button on your story where you can click captions and it will automate captions for you. But I will tell you, it's so stupid and silly that so many people actually just forget this step and it takes 1 minute. This single step could help double your story views if you just added text or captions to your story. So here's an example how I just added the text. So a summary of what I said, I just had the text on screen, or you can actually have the caption automate of what you're saying. Either of those is great. Sometimes I love having the text where I just write it on screen versus using a caption because people can read it and understand right away what I'm trying to say versus sometimes in a caption they have to wait to hear what point you're getting to. But both are important. If you're not doing a text box, then do a caption or vice versa. But this alone can help you just increase your story views. Another thing that is really important, I don't know if you can do it on Facebook, but on Instagram, you can add links to your story, right? You can put links to products and stuff. Do not do that. Why? Is because a few things. First of all, you lose your lead. You don't know who clicked on that link. You don't know who clicked on and went to your website. And so you just lost a lead. So this, when you have a poll, you're able to have that conversation in Messenger. And I believe that closing the sale happens in conversation. It doesn't happen in a website, it happens in conversation. And so if you're simply just leading people to a website, you're missing out on those conversions. You're missing out on having those conversations that will actually close the sale. Links are passive. Polls start conversations. And you might see here, like I said before, both options are yes. So if you're adding a poll, here I said, send me info. Oh my God, I need this, right? So both are yes. I don't give people the no option. When I say, hey, do you want more info? It's yes or yes, right? That's another thing that I do that I think is important to do because you don't want a bunch of people saying no on your poll and then that looks bad. So it's send me info or yes, I need this or whatever. So adding polls as your call to action on your last slide is huge. And it's another silly thing that people miss is they'll post their stories with zero call to actions. You're expecting people to reach out to you. And that never happens with sales. People aren't just going to reach out to you. You're going to reach out to them. And to bridge that gap is to add that call to action where you say, hey, click on this poll. And when they click on that poll, then you can give them that information and have that conversation in Messenger. So make it easy for people to get information from you by giving them this call to action. So here are a few tips for your polls. So stick to 2 to 3 poll options. I know on Facebook you only get 2 options, but on Instagram you can do multiple options. I usually just do 2, but let's say you're giving them a this or that question. So this one I said, would you rather get views or sales from your reels? So I give them 2 options, views or sales. That's a this or that question. If you want to get more engagement, a this or that question will do a lot better than a yes or no question because people love to pick sides. So like sometimes you can do outfit. Should I wear these boots or these shoes with this dress? Like sometimes this or that can really boost that engagement on that first poll. Keep it simple and easy to tap. Don't like make it complicated where it's like in a weird place on screen. And then also make sure your poll ties into the overall theme of your story. Sometimes, like if you're talking about products, sometimes it's great to have that poll related to what you're going to talk about with your products. But sometimes if you're just wanting to share something personal in the beginning, that's fine. Like one of my strategies that worked really well for me is people loved giving me opinion on what I should or shouldn't wear. So a lot of times I would show them my outfit and I would say like, ask them, hey, should I keep this or return it? Right? So I could have said, does this look good or bad? Like, does this look good? Yes or no? But instead I said, should I keep this or return it? And now that's a this or that question, and that gets a lot more engagement versus like, does this look good? Yes or no? You know what I'm saying? So then a lot of people love to give their opinions, and then you continue on. All right, so here's kind of an example of a series. So of how I kind of did it. So I started with, hey, connection, would you rather get views or sales from your reels? And you notice how each of these, I'm talking to the camera. This is a walking and talking hook, right? So let me show you this.
Would you rather get views or sales from your content? I know this might be unpopular, but I'd much rather get sales and leads instead of the views. If I get 2,000 views, but let's say 10 leads, that's more important to me than getting 10,000 views and 0 leads.
Okay, so you notice how that's a walking and talking hook, right? So one of those visual hooks, and then I had that on screen. Basically, I summarized what I said with this poll here, right? So then each of these I went through this whole system. I was like, if your content isn't converting, then posting is a waste of time. Here's how to fix that. Then I gave social proof. Lori came to me because her content wasn't converting. And then after she implemented this, she gained 23,000 leads in 6 months. Right? So then here are 2 options that I did. One option, as far as a call to action, would be like you could actually set up a mini chat automation. This is next level. So if you're a beginner, skip the step. But if you're like, you've been posting your story for a while, you could also set up a mini chat automation where you tell people to comment, reply to your story. And when they do that, mini chat robot will actually send them the information. Another cool idea that you could do too is you could link your reel or your video that you just posted on your story. So I led it up to here. Are you making these 5 reel mistakes that could be killing your growth? Check out this reel. And then the reel told them what those 5 mistakes were. So that's a way that you could get more views on your reels and your content is actually setting it up into your story and say, hey, are you struggling with this? I actually just did a video about that. You can click here to go see it. Right. So those are just fun ways to kind of engage people in your story. But I would say this is next level. If you're a beginner, don't worry about this part. Okay. This is like next level kind of thing. So I want you guys to screenshot this. This is ChatGPT script that you can use. But it goes, hey, ChatGPT, I want to post stories today about blank. Give them as much information as possible. Don't just say Mojo and expect ChatGPT to know what that is. Can you help me come up with what to say in each story? Here's my formula. And then it will help you come up with this story sequence, right? When you're giving them information, make sure that you're giving them as much information as possible. So if you're sending them, hey, we're going to be talking about Mojo, this is what it does, this is how it helps people, then it can give you the best kind of feedback as far as what to post about it. If you're just vague and you're like, hey, I'm going to talk about my neotropic energy drink, come up with stories for me, it's going to be kind of vague and not very good. So the more information you feed it, the better it's going to give you ideas on what to post with that. So screenshot this. Perfect. All right, so last part is like if you are posting in your story and you're not making sales, you could ask yourself these questions. Are you starting with the problem or are you telling them about the product? Because what you want to focus on is the problem, not the product, right? People buy solutions and they're not buying products. And so you want to focus on how this product can help them versus telling them what it is. Are you giving value before you're selling to them? So are you giving them information, educating them on how things work, how this could help them, giving them your story, your experience before you're saying, hey, buy this product? Are you showing them proof that it works? So testimonials, your story, customer stories, before and afters, like all the time, you need to be posting these results and posting these testimonials. And then are you asking for the sale? Are you just posting your story, but you're not giving any call to action? You're not saying, hey, vote on this poll if you're interested in information. If you're missing out on adding a call to action of telling people to vote on the poll for information, that's probably why you're not making any sales. And then are you using the poll option instead of just posting links? Because links, you're losing those leads, and sales happen in conversation. They do not happen on websites. So stories don't sell products, conversations do. And you have to start conversations in your story. This is the key to getting conversions and closing the sale, is using your story to create those conversations, then getting into Messenger and helping them make their buying decisions before you send them that link. And then when you send them that link, you'll have a better chance of closing that sale. So I will stop this and open it up for questions. The last thing I do want to mention is we do have the Telegram channel. So if you are new and you are not in this, reach out to Mindy. She can make sure that you get that link. But I do create stories Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'll be posting one today for the Telegram channel. I will tell you that these are graphics. I wouldn't say they're infographics because I try my best to actually follow this kind of system with pictures, but it's never going to replace the human connection of you showing up on camera. I would say the Telegram channel is really great, bottom of the barrel, kind of show up in the best way possible. But then a next level to that would be you actively showing your face and showing up on camera. That would be like the next level of how to take your business to the next step. Telegram channel, a great filler, especially if you're busy that day. But then showing up on camera is going to be even better than that. All right. So I'm going to open up for questions.
I'm so glad that you said that, Bethany, because, I see people using those graphics and it's great. But as you guys can see, your face is so important for them, for your followers to see, for people to relate to you. And so those are great to use with your face, in ways that you can. If there's testimonials there or whatever she puts in there. But okay, I noticed that somebody said, and I don't know where it was, Bethany, they were saying they don't always get people to respond to their polls. I can't remember who said that.
That was me, Mindy.
Oh, was it you, Rania? Okay.
Yeah, so I do a lot of stories. So Bethany, thank you, because I need to up my game on my stories. But usually I'll start out my day, I'll do personal development, and then I take a key point from that. And while I'm making my mojo, and I don't always talk about it, I'm just making it, I will teach on what I just learned or something. And then I have chat. I create a post for me that kind of relates from that. So I'm pulling stories into my feed. But when I do a poll, like nobody ever responds. I've never had anybody respond to a poll. So I get frustrated with them, and I do the yes or yes, So I have a feeling it's my content leading into it.
Yeah.
Would be my guess.
Well, are you talking about the poll for your first story, the one that's engaging?
No, like I'll do, like if I'm doing a product training and I'm like specifically talking about, I'll hit the pain points and things, and then I will ask, are you struggling with gut issues, or are you struggling with bloating? And then I'll say like all the time or sometimes. and then nobody ever answers.
Most likely because I think they're going to be sold to.
Okay.
Right. So it just depends on the framework of the whole story and the whole concept of it. It's hard to like just pick apart this one thing without knowing the whole sequence of it. But I would say adding the personal element to it, adding the personal element of like sharing your story. And as far as like try getting people to respond with just like a personal element on your first story first, like a this or that, something about your day. One of my best stories ever was we were at Costco and I recorded a story. I was like, okay, my husband, help us set us debate. Is it salmon or salmon? Because I think it's salmon, and my husband thinks it's salmon. And then we did a poll and people love that. And so it's like bringing that human element into some of the stuff that you're doing to connect people to you, and then that connection to the product can happen too when you start to bring a personal element to the things you're sharing. As far as setting your phone down mid-recording, because I saw Marcianne say that. So if you go into your story, Marcianne, let me just show you here. Okay, so you go into your story here. I'm going to spotlight this for a second because people are like, how do you do that? So if you ever wonder how to record a story, especially on Instagram, without using, without having to hold it the whole time or hold the button the whole time, you can click this little thing called hands free. Click that, and then you hold this button down, and it will give you a countdown, 2, 1, and then now you can just record your story without holding it. And it'll just record. So you can do hands-free so you don't have to hold it the whole time. And now it'll just record without you holding the button down. Hopefully that helped you.
Thanks. I didn't know about the countdown piece. So I knew about the hands-free, but I still had to press the button to, my question is, are you like, do you have a certain formula on how many days in the week you're selling something to your audience in your stories versus just sharing relatable experiences in your stories? And then I'm guessing what you're also saying is don't make the story the same every day. Like if you're used to doing your mojo every day or your activate drink every day to show consistency that you're using it for your followers that are following you, that's not necessarily the right thing to be duplicating the same thing every single day.
I wouldn't say you necessarily need to be like doing the same exact thing every day. I think there needs to be a mix. It doesn't need to be, okay, I'm going to do 3 business posts 3 times a week, 2 personal posts. It's supposed to feel fluid, like it's a part of your life and not just like, now I'm going to do my product, right? Like it needs to become this natural part of just a part of your life. So for me, when I was doing it, a lot of times I would be doing it while I was making my shake for the day, right? And but maybe what I'm talking about that day, every day is a little bit different. It's not the same thing every single day. I'm engaging my audience in different ways. So, I think a good mix of it. If you need to hold yourself accountable where you're just not showing up and showing the products on a consistent basis, I would say every other day, make it a goal because your stories are live for 24 hours, right? So at least every other day, if you're posting, it can hit almost both days sometimes, right? So I wouldn't say 5 or 7 days a week you have to do it, but yes, the consistency over time because people, it takes 7 to 10 times to see something. Actually, no, more than that, to see something before they buy it. So it's the consistency of showing up, but also it doesn't mean like showing up just randomly making mojo isn't going to hit the mark, right? Tell them what it is, how it helps them.
Could I ask then like a follow-up question? So would you say strategically it would be best to focus on one product and then just talk about the different pain points throughout the week and how it solves in different ways? And I guess I'm trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah, I would say yes.
One thing I would just say, okay, is what she's saying is that people show up in your stories because they like Bethany, right? They like her, they trust her, because of who she's being. And so if Bethany showed up every day with a different product, like today I'm taking this, and but they don't know her as that. Like what they want to feel like is you're just showing your lifestyle. Okay. So if I would choose personally 1 to 3 products that you absolutely love that you would take every day, whether you were in your stories, not in your stories, like it is your routine, it's who you are. And then it's like, oh, and I learned this because so when we launched NAD Plus and travel at the same time, I had so many people saying, what do I put in my stories? Like NAD Plus, travel, all these different things. And I just kind of leaned into travel. And I had so many different people reach out to me. Like I just learned that I was getting known as the travel girl. And it worked for me because it is my lifestyle. I do travel a lot. And so think about that, Marcianne. I don't know if that helps, but what are the products that you love? What do you want to be known as? And does it fit into your lifestyle every single day that you can really truly talk about it and be passionate about it and excited about it so that they know you as this is who you are? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So then I guess my next follow-up question is if the visual hook is the same every day, but I'm talking about a different aspect, different pain point solved, is that good? Or should I try to switch up the visual hook?
The visual hook can always be different. It doesn't necessarily need to be you starting making your drink on camera. You can still talk about the product in different ways without you just like showing your drink. But if you're showing your drink or making your drink, that's not an issue either as far as like the visual hook goes. And someone asked, could I use the Telegram ideas that are posted and make those personal and like do them on camera? Yes, you can take what I'm posting in the picture and make it into you talking it out and saying it out loud. That definitely is another option. I know we had one more special thing I wanted to share at the end before we go into any more questions. I'll answer Valerie's question, then I have something special for you guys, and then Mindy, you might want me to add those special tips for social media after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just it could be quick too.
Okay. Valerie, do you have a question?
Yeah, so these are all kind of focused on Instagram, right? So these are Instagram trending sounds, Instagram hooks, Instagram
No.
like so it can replicate because what I've noticed is before I started your content group, I was actually making all of my reels on TikTok and then sharing it to Instagram and Facebook. But then when I would try to go find the sounds on TikTok, I couldn't find them. So then I just started making them on Instagram. But then as a result, my TikTok just kind of into like I just stopped using it. And now I lost that as a platform because I can't find a way to transfer these trending sounds to TikTok. I can transfer them to Facebook easy because it's the same owner, but it's hard.
Yeah, so if you want, you can message me privately. I'll show you how to do that because this training purpose was on stories, not on reels. And so,
got it.
Yeah. So for your stories, yes, whatever I'm teaching in this training will correlate to your Instagram and to your Facebook, and both will work on either platform. But as far as like when it comes to reels, that's definitely like a whole different thing. But I do have a hack to that. So if you message me, I'll show you how to do that. You can just message me on Instagram. Perfect. All right. So I have one more thing to show you guys. So as Valerie mentioned, I do have a content club. So if you're struggling with content ideas and wondering, okay, what should I post in my reels? I have a place for that. So let me go ahead and pop that up here. Okay, so hold on a second. Okay, so here is the Content Club. So the Content Club is a monthly membership that I've created for entrepreneurs that want to show up more consistently on Instagram and Facebook with their reels, but they're not sure what to post. So every single week, I give you exactly what to post. I give you the hooks, I give you the audios, I give you the chat GPT prompt for your captions. I give you what kind of visual hook to put with it, every single thing that you need to create your reel so that you could literally create your reel within 10 minutes. The editing probably would be the longest part to it, but it makes it so easy to show up. So every single week you get 4+ content ideas sent to you with trending audios. And then we also have a group chat. So in the group chat, every Wednesday is Workshop Wednesday, where we work through some ideas, hooks, etc. So if you have an idea you're trying to put together, you can ask questions, get feedback. And then on Fridays, I audit one member's reel and I give them feedback on that. We have monthly coaching, just like this call, and they also get access to all the previous workshops and trainings that I've done for the club. So I've done trainings on how to create content that converts, how to grow with trial reels, how to get more engagement, how to create stronger hooks, how to do a content calendar, etc. So you get access to all of those trainings when you join the club. So the club is typically $19.99 a month, so about $20, but I'm actually running an Easter sale right now where you get $5 off your first month with the code Easter, and that expires on Monday. So if you go to hellobethanyreyes.com and enter the code Easter when checking out, you get $5 off. So your first month would be $14.99 for your first month, and then it would be $19.99 after that. And you can cancel anytime. So you can try it for a month, see how it goes. If you don't love it, you can skip it. But basically, you're getting 20+ content ideas for less than $1, if you want to look at it that way, plus all the other benefits and perks to that. So today is Workshop Wednesday in the Content Club. And so we'll be working through some hooks and ideas. So if you want to get into that, I'll make sure to drop the link here, because it's only good for this weekend. And then I know that, Mindy, you wanted me to touch on anything else as far as quick tips for social media.
Yeah, well, we kind of ran out of time, and
Okay.
I realized that. But I do want to just say, those of you who are brand new to social media, maybe, Bethany, if you want to just like take 1 or 2 minutes and just share with them. I think the Content Club is a great place to start. I also believe, just start with the social media that Bethany created. That's mainly for Facebook, okay? Because it starts with engagement, questions and things like that. But, and then my only other thing is, because when I first started in social media, and this was probably over 10 years ago now, but I remember just being overwhelmed, like, okay, what platform should I do? Because there's 500 million of them now, right? Well, not really. Well, maybe there is. I have no idea. But there's a lot of them. And so I say, get used to one at first and love it and get excited about it, and then move to the other. But is there other things, Bethany, that you could share that will help just a brand new person? I get a lot of people asking all the time, where do I start? How do I do this?
I think the most important thing is to remember, people buy from people, not from companies or products. And when you show up in any capacity, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, show up as a person. If I go to your profile, would I know who you are without ever having a conversation with you? Or would I only know what you sell? Because that's a very big difference. People need to have a sense of who you are and be able to connect and know you beyond what you sell, because that personal element is so huge, and selling is also being a whole person. So incorporate the products into your life, make it fluid, make it feel like a part of who you are, but not who you are, right? You still want to let people know other things outside of that. So show up in a personal way, share things about your life, invite people into who you are. So that builds that connection piece, so that when you go to sell to someone, it feels like you're just saying, hey, I just found this awesome deal at TJ Maxx and you should check it out. And it doesn't feel like you're selling to them. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would say is, try to show up and share parts of yourself on social media, and then selling will come a lot more easier.
It's good. That's perfect. Yeah. And if you are still, very overwhelmed, start with the first video, okay, that we did. I believe it was in August. and then the second one. And if you don't know where those are, they're in the featured section of Power Players Facebook group, and then also in our YouTube channel. So you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Bethany, I appreciate you and all of your knowledge that you always share. That was amazing training. It really was. Don't you guys love how she showed examples, and just, it was so, so good. So thank you again, Bethany. And those of you who are not in her content club, I highly recommend it. There's a lot of great stuff, and it just helps you with, oh, what should I do today? You know, she just gives you those ideas. So, okay, you guys are the best. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see all of you. I want you to know, let's see, today's Wednesday. So tonight we have Red Diamond Jeff Belleville doing an event. I highly recommend you get the people in front of him. He's going to help you get customers, get business partners, and we'll rock it. So if you don't know, you know, if you don't have the link for that event, make sure you get with your mentor and they will get that to you. It's also in our featured section of Power Players. All right, you guys have a great day. Thanks again, Bethany. You're the best. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.